Guess it just wasn't meant to be, was it, people, for Dominick Reyes? He gets flatline KO'd by Carlos Ulberg. Well into the first round, it went exactly like everybody thought it was going to go. I had hope. I tried to manifest the Dominick Reyes win. If you haven't been seeing my TikToks, basically we do a thing over there where we try and manifest wins, and now we don't predict fights anymore, we manifest wins. And I've been on a 4-fight manifestation streak, and I got carried away with this one. I thought I might be able to manifest the Dominick Reyes win, the Dominick Reyes fairy tale ending. But, ladies and gentlemen, fairy tales are called fairy tales for a reason. Big dreams are called dreams for a reason. And this was a dream. This was a fairy tale. And this was never meant to be for Dominick Reyes. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please do like, share, subscribe, comment for more. Get your opinions down on the fight. Who would you like to see Carlos Ulberg fight next? Who would you like to see Dominick Reyes fight next? If you want to see him fight next, we're going to be talking about that in today's video. So the fight went really how it should have. Ulberg landed about 3 clean punches to the head of Dominick Reyes. The first one was a right hand as Dominick Reyes was kind of pivoting to his right. The second was a jab on Dominick Reyes that wobbled him momentarily. And the last one was, well, the last one, if you catch what I'm trying to say. I mean, we talk about fairy tale endings in MMA. We talk about the ultimate ending, the perfect scenario. It never works out that way. If anything, mixed martial arts is the sport where fairy tale endings on the opposite end of the spectrum. I don't know what to call them. Maybe hell on earth endings. Maybe get the fuck out my face kind of endings. I don't know what to call it. But it's an ending that just leaves you dissatisfied, deflated if you're a Dominick Reyes fan, which I have, and I have always been for many a years now. I wrote him off after the Ryan Spann fight. I thought, man, Reyes is never coming back from this. Obviously, I picked him to beat Anthony Smith. That was a free win at the time. What a weird fight that was. Against Dustin Jacoby, he's starting to pick up a bit of momentum again, and you're like, ooh, he might do it. And then against Nikita Krylov, I was surprised by that. Not because I didn't think Reyes had the skills to beat Nikita Krylov, but Reyes, for me, is a guy that has lost his chin. And the fact that he even put together a 3-fight winning streak is, for me, impressive in of itself. He has been battered, he has been bruised, and he's been slept one too many times now. And to be honest with you, when I look at this fight, I'd like to see Dominick Reyes retire. And that might sound a bit extreme, but I look at a guy like Dominick Reyes, and people used to say the same thing about Amir Khan in boxing. Reyes can lead a fight. Reyes can do well in a fight. Reyes can have as much success as he wants. He can never get to that belt again. He can never break into that top 5 again. And the reason for that is because he can't take a shot anymore. He just can't. He can take a shot off Anthony Smith, and he can take a shot off Dustin Jacoby. But against guys that are power punchers, we see Dominick Reyes sort of fight like he knows that he can't take a punch off these guys. I said it on Twitter and on TikTok last night. Reyes fights like a guy that knows he can't take a punch off a power puncher. I mean, we see the fight against John Jones. John Jones is some of the best octagon cutting, forward pressure, whatever you want to call it, in mixed martial arts history. John Jones is a top level operator from that point of view. But Dominick Reyes was able to circle round on him, come in with combination bursts. His distance management and judgment of range was on point. Against someone like Carlos Ulberg, after he's been slept by Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prohaska and Ryan Spann, that Dominick Reyes that fought Carlos Ulberg, despite the fact that he's on a bit of a win streak, despite the fact that he claims he's let go of the sort of expectations everybody else has put on him, despite all that, this Dominick Reyes that we saw fight Carlos Ulberg looked like a man that knew, I can't afford to get hit here, and you are in a 5-round UFC Fight Night main event in Perth. You know, wherever it is, it could be a Fight Night Apex, it could be a pay-per-view, it could be whatever. Dominick Reyes in a 5-round fight, he's going to get caught. He's going to get caught. If he doesn't get a quick finish, and by the way, that's a big if because Reyes hits hard. When Reyes finds that shot and gains confidence in a fight, that's a different story. But when it's slow-paced, when you're taking your time with him and you pick your shots and you don't rush it, you don't fall into that counter left hand. Carlos Ulberg stayed measured, lead hand extended, tall stance, chin in the air. The Reyes of old might have circled round and picked him off. Another version of Reyes might have even tried to take Carlos Ulberg down, which I was very surprised that he hasn't done. I know Reyes has better wrestling than he shows. He just never likes to show it. Whether it's his gas tank, maybe he'll fade. Maybe he feels like he can't do that for 5 rounds. I don't know what it is. But fighting in a slow-paced chess match when you don't have a chin against Carlos Ulberg is borderlining on suicide. But then I look at Dominick Reyes' fights and I look at Dominick Reyes' endurance and chin and durability, whatever you want to call it these days. And I look at that fight against Carlos Ulberg and I think, but even if Reyes committed with output, Ulberg will catch him at some point. Even if Reyes tries to get in the clinch and dirty box or try and take Ulberg down, he might have success, but Ulberg is going to catch him eventually. And Dominick Reyes just can't beat these guys. It's a shame because he is good enough to do it. You see it with a guy like Phil Hawes. You remember Phil Hawes when he fought Ikram Aliskerov? Phil Hawes looked outstanding. He'd been to Tiger Muay Thai or wherever it was in Thailand, and he looked excellent. He looked on point, and he gets in there against Ikram Aliskerov and he gets knocked out cold. And I think he'd been knocked out cold in the fight before that. He got knocked out cold again in the fight after, and maybe even one more time if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember against who. And that was the end of Phil Hawes. And I never thought Phil Hawes was a terrible fighter. I always thought Phil Hawes actually had a good amount of skill. I really did. I sound like I'm saying Phil Hawes, but I'm saying Hawes. I'm trying to pronounce his name properly, people. You've got to bear with me. I used to think that Phil Hawes was actually an alright fighter, but you never pick for Phil Hawes because you know he can't take a shot. And every single time someone would land on him clean, that would be the end of the fight. That would just be all she wrote. And it's the same with Dominick Reyes, and it's going to continuously be the same for Dominick Reyes. Is he a more skilled fighter than Ryan Spann? Yes. He's a far more skilled fighter than Ryan Spann. As a wrestler, as a striker, as a boxer, but he can't take a shot. He can't take a shot. You just can't keep fighting when you have a chin like that. His chin may never have been amazing to begin with. Maybe John Jones just doesn't hit that hard. Someone like John Jones isn't really known for the knockout power anyway in the hands. But knockouts he sustained against Jan Blachowicz, who I think Jan Blachowicz laid the foundation. Jiri Prohaska built the house. And then maybe you could say Ryan Spann laid out the garden. Carlos Ulberg, who came in with a big fat bulldozer and just shattered the house down. Absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal sport. Absolutely brutal sport, man. It is the cruelest sport in the world. It's crueler than any other combat sport. It's crueler than any other sport in general. You don't get fairy tale endings in MMA. This is why we love MMA, partially. You know, whether it's guys like Michael Bisping who should get the fairy tale ending when they beat Luke Rockhold, but then even though they've got one eye, they stick around for another 2-3 more fights. And his last fight is him getting slept on a week's notice by Kelvin Gastelum out cold, and that's the ending for Michael Bisping. Whether it's John Jones retiring out of disgrace, he never even lost officially, but he retires out of disgrace. The fan base has turned against him, and the last thing he would be remembered for is not his incredible achievements, but ducking Tom Aspinall. Crazy. It's so crazy to see how this sport evolves. It's so crazy to see how Dominick Reyes went from there, massive favourite to beat Jan Blachowicz, gets slept. Massive favourite to beat Jiri, gets slept. Man, I can't remember, was the Jiri fight before the... No, I think the Jan fight was before the Jiri fight. I can't remember exactly. I can't quite remember, guys. Sorry, my memory's failing me. I try not to think about it when I can, actually. I don't know if you can blame me for that, but I really try and avoid thinking about the times Dominick Reyes lost. And when he does lose, it's bad. It's bad. You have a guy like Dominick Reyes who maybe you could look at and say, well, maybe against John Jones, maybe it was John Jones's worst ever performance, the very worst version of John Jones, and it was the most hungry, the most disciplined, the best chinned, and an overlooked contender in Dominick Reyes. Maybe that's why he gave John Jones so many problems. Maybe that's why he did. On a technical level, sure, southpaw against orthodox. Reyes was a better lateral mover than John. He's physically strong. He's a former football player, American football player. Man, it's tough. It's tough to see where Reyes was to where you felt like he was destined to be, to where, like, you look at someone like Dominick Reyes at the age he's at now, you would think he should be coming to the end of his title reign by now. Maybe he should be having He should have at least had 4 or 5 title defences by now going off that Jones performance. Yeah, sure, maybe Jones did beat him. It was very, very close, and maybe you can say it was the worst version of Jones. But after that fight, even the most staunch John Jones fan can agree, we all thought this guy was going to be something special. We all thought this guy was going to do incredible things. And, man, I think Dominick Reyes is going to go down as the guy that maybe did beat John Jones, but after that, look what happened, man. This sport can really turn you on its head. Incredible. Overall, the card, just to finish up, I liked it. I thought it was okay. Another late night for me over in the UK. There wasn't too many fights except the main event I was too invested in. There wasn't a lot of great prospects on there. I do like Navajo Sterling, but I wasn't too impressed with his performance either. Jake Matthews, that insane refereeing in that fight cost me a massive accumulator, a massive cash out. But I decided not to cash out because I was like, Jake Matthews won't bottle this. He bottled it. Neil Magny did what Neil Magny does. Whenever I bet for him, he loses. Whenever I bet against him, he wins. I'm avoiding this guy like the plague when it comes to betting in the future. But let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Just a bit of a yap session. Goodbye, everybody.